Good morning, friends. Happy to be again with you. Actually, this was not the session which I had a plan to conduct, but due to some reasons or other, I was asked to handle this session too. So I am back. And in today's session, I'm just going to discuss about four important things. One is factor analysis, and secondly, how to handle the questions which have multiple responses from the respondents, and thirdly, how to create, how to go for customized tables, and as a fourth last item, how to conduct reliability test for their questionnaire items. These are the four items which we are going to discuss in this particular session. Let me begin with the factor analysis. So factor analysis is a very, very important concept in SPSS, but it's very easy to calculate too. Now, what is the purpose of this factor analysis? As it is given in the slide, it is a way of summarizing or reducing data, often collected on a questionnaire, to a few underlying dimensions. See, we collect a lot of data using questionnaire or interview or schedule. And when you want to find out how many dimensions are there, how many factors are there, you can go for factor analysis. For example, I ask you a few questions: your name, your gender, your date of birth, nativity, father's name, mother's name, all those things and that. Then I ask you something about what about your performance in 10th standard, 12th standard, UG, what course you did, where you did your PG courses or MPhil course or PhD, where you did all these things. Then I ask you your personal things like whether you are a patient person, whether you are having bilingual ability, you're very peace-oriented person, whether you are courteous, whether you get angry soon or not, how hardworking you are, how sincere you are. So I just ask you questions. Fine. See, I asked you many questions. Each and every question is a variable. Okay, for example, I asked you 15 questions. So there are 15 variables. I would like to classify, or I would like to reduce these 15 variables into 3 or 4 groups. Each group will have a name, and each group will have few factors which are related to one another, which are correlated to one another. For example, I can have 3 groups. For example, first group, your personal information, your name, age, gender, father's name, mother's name, your mobile number, nativity, all those things, personal things. And second thing, I can give a heading called education qualification. Your 10th, 12th, UG, PG, MPhil, PhD, all those things can be classified and grouped under education qualification. And I can have another group called personal traits, personal qualities, your characteristics, maybe patience, intelligence, hard work, sincerity, those things. So, though I asked 15 questions, though I had 15 variables, I was able to group and reduce all these 15 variables into just 3 factors. Under each factor, the set of variables which are related to each other are placed. Fine. So this is the whole purpose of factor analysis. Fine. And we have two different kinds of factor analysis. One is confirmatory, another is exploratory. Confirmatory in the sense, before you start conducting a factor analysis, you decide. So these are the factors. I am going to check whether the data what I have collected have all these factors. The factors which I have already found from others' research work or others' prepositions or some standards, some predictions. So I would like to check, I want to confirm whether the factors what I have for my research questionnaire are the same as that of the standard or previous research output. So in that we can go for confirmatory factor analysis. But when you're not aware of, see, I have got 15 questions. I am not sure how many factors are going to be there in my questionnaire. I don't know. So you want to explore, you want to find out. So you can go for exploratory factor analysis. So in today's session, I am going to show you only exploratory factor analysis because SPS is capable of conducting only exploratory factor analysis. If you want to conduct confirmatory factor analysis, then SPSS will not help you. There is another software called SPSS AMOS, AMOS, which you may have to download separately, you have to learn separately, and you can conduct confirmatory factor analysis over there. Fine. So let me confine myself only to exploratory factor analysis. How to conduct? There are different methods of performing a factor analysis for exploratory factor analysis. But here, I would show you only one method. It's a very popular method and it's a very, very simple method called principal component analysis, PCA. So PCA is a method we are going to adopt for conducting exploratory factor analysis. Okay, fine. So a question comes here, sir. You say that you want to explore the factors. So how many factors are we going to explore in our questionnaire? Whether 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. How can I decide on how many factors I should explore? How many, not what, how many. So there are three tools, three tips, three techniques that will help us to decide how many factors we can have for our research data. One is we should find out what is the variance being explained by each factor. The factors may be 3 or 4 or 5, maybe anything. But what is the percentage of variance explained by each factor? If a factor is contributing at least 5% of the variance, then you can select. So all the factors which are contributing 5 or more than 5% of variance of the questionnaire can be taken as factors. Otherwise, you can look for something called eigenvalue, which should be 1 or greater. So only those factors which have the eigenvalue of 1 or more than 1 can be considered for your research work. So only those factors which have either 1 or more than 1 of eigenvalue. Fine. So eigenvalue is nothing but the correlation that exists among intercorrelations and multiple correlations conducted among the variables. And eigenvalue 1 means the factor is having the ability to depict the variance as that of each and every original variable included therein. That means the combined factor is able to reveal the same variance as that can be explained by each and every original variable it represents. Fine. For example, there is a factor, it has got 5 variables. So whatever variance can be explained by these 5 variables, this one factor also will be able to explain. That is what eigenvalue of 1 or greater. Then comes, you can draw a plot called Scree plots. You can have the factors one side, you can have eigenvalues another side. If you saw a graph, you have to choose a point when the trend line becomes quite similar. Not much variation is there. That cutoff point will tell you how many variables you need for your exploratory factor analysis. So you can use any one of all, not all three. You can use any one of these three to finalize how many factors you are going to explore in your research work. Fine. So once the method is decided and how many factors are decided, now we need to rotate the factors. You need to find out what are the variables that contribute or that have the correlation that load onto each factor. So which variable is loading on which factor? Which variable is contributing to the variance of, or which variable is correlated to which factor? You want to find out. What is the rule of thumb? It's very simple. The loading should be 0.3 or greater. That means that the variable makes a significant contribution to a factor. So if a variable is having 0.3 or greater loading, it means that that particular variable is having the capability of contributing significantly to that factor. So we can take only those variables which have a significant contribution to the factors concerned. Fine. Just like, for example, you have a photo frame, you want to fix it on the wall. How do? You just move the photo, rotate the photo here and there. You adjust top, bottom, side, left, right side, so that you want to place the photo in a perfect way, perfect place, perfect look. The same way, rotation will help you to identify the exact variables that have a good loading on the factors concerned. Fine. To conduct factor analysis, what are the assumptions the data should fulfill? As we have been discussing for each and every test, there are some assumptions. Even factor analysis, we have got some tests. The data should be numeric. That is the interval data or scale data. It should be numeric data. And data should be normally distributed. I told you how to find out whether the data is normally distributed or not by using one sample case test, or you can use a scatter plot or something like that. And there is something called multicollinearity. So your data should not have multicollinearity. It means that if the data are such a way that the variables are correlated too much, they are correlated, they are exactly so much correlated, then the data is not good for factor analysis. So we have to find out that the determinant value should be greater than 0.000001. That is the check. Then you have to check whether your sampling adequacy is ensured or not. Whether the sampling number, the sampling quantity, what you have for your research work, whether it is adequate, whether it is sufficient for measuring the factor analysis. To do so, you just conduct KMO test, and the result should be, it should be more than 0.5. It means that there is a adequacy of sampling. You can do factor analysis. Then you should again go for one more test called Bartlett's test of sphericity. Fine. This particular test tells you whether there is a sufficient quantum of relationship that exists among the variables so that it is worth for us continuing the factor analysis. If there are no relationships, what is the point in conducting factor analysis? So to check the existence of significant relationship, we have to check Bartlett's test, and it should be, the sig value should be less than 0.5. Fine. So if these assumptions are fulfilled, then only you can go for factor analysis. Fine. The very important question comes, sir, how many variables are required to conduct a factor analysis? How many respondents are to be there and how many variables are to be there? And they say that minimum 100 participants are required. If you want to conduct a factor analysis, you should collect data at least from 100 participants. But what is the thumb rule? The rule says that the ratio of 2:1. If there is a one variable, then you should have 2 participants. For example, you have some 20 variables or 30 variables. What you have? You want to group these 30 or, for example, 40 variables. You want to group all the 40 variables into some groups. So minimum you should have 80 participants. Fine. So first rule says that minimum 100, and second rule says that there should be a ratio of 2:1 as far as participants to variables are concerned. Fine. If these things are clear to you, then we can go ahead with factor analysis in SPSS. Fine. And let me open SPSS. It's here. And I select open another file, click OK. Let me go to the place where I have got my file. You know it very well. I go to desktop and the SPSS online course, final data set. I click on factor analysis, click open, and you can see the result here. Fine, this is the data. Well, I have just got 7 variables, and I collected data from just 20 respondents as a sample presentation. No, 20 participants. They asked them 7 questions. And what are these questions? I think it's not clear. Let me go to variable view. You can see here. There are some questions about symbol reaction test, choice reaction test, one addition test, one multiplication test, one logic test, one puzzle. How many moves? In how many moves the child was able to complete the puzzle, solve the puzzle. One. Then in how many seconds he has solved the puzzle? Last 2 questions. Then addition questions, multiple questions, logic questions, then reaction questions. So how a child reacts to a particular situation, particular environment, particular happening, So I just conducted 7 tests. So this question has got 7 variables. The researcher is interested to group these variables, these 7 variables into few groups, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 groups. Okay. And I would like to know if I know the factors, accordingly, I can think about, I can decide on what areas I can go for judging the students. So let me go for factor analysis for this particular question. Okay, these are data I collected. Where is it available? Please let us go. Let me go to analyze. In analyze, go to dimension reduction. They move on to factor. Once again, analyze, dimension reduction, and then go to factor. This is a screen. I'm going to select all the variables. You press Control A, all the variables are selected. Then move the variables. Fine. Now all the 7 variables are selected for our factor analysis. Fine. Let me go one by one. Descriptive. I want to have initial solution, maybe coefficient, significant levels, determinant, K motors, univariate. I have selected all these things because these are all required for checking the assumption. So I selected all these things. 2 under statistics and 4 under correlation matrix. Click continue. Then come to extraction. As I told you, there are many methods. By default, to begin with, I just start with the principal comments. Of course, the only one analysis I will be discussing today. And this side, you can select a scree plot. As I told you, that is one way of choosing the number of factors. So I selected a scree plot also. Here, based on eigenvalues greater than 1, as we already discussed, we want to select only those factors which have the eigenvalue of 1 or more. Fine. Leave the rest as such. Click on continue. Then go to rotation. In rotation, there are many methods of rotation. I go for Varimax. So Varimax rotation is a very simple one. It is suited for such kind of test. I have selected Varimax, and by default, rotated solution is there. Okay, just click the continue. Fine. And last, I go to options. There, I select suppress small coefficients. Since I have got only 20 participants, I don't want to have all the coefficient displays. I want to have only those displays that got that means I don't want to show the small coefficients, the variables which have the least amount of correlation coefficients. I don't want to see all those things in my result output. Fine. If you're having more and more variables, you can even have it as 0.1 or 0.2, you can have it. Since I have less number of variables, I just selected 0.4. There's no logical reason behind that. Then just click continue. So now I have selected all the things under descriptives, extraction, rotation, options. Let me go to click on OK, and you can see the result over here. The first table is descriptive statistics. It tells you the mean, standard deviation values of all the 7 variables. Then comes correlation matrix, second table. It tells you to what extent each and every variable is correlated to each of the other variables. For example, if you take this simple reaction, it is having a significant correlation with choice reaction, only choice reaction. If you take addition, the variable addition, it has got a significant correlation with multiplication, logic, and the number of moves in the puzzle. Fine. It has got significant correlation with 3 items. So this is a correlation matrix. Then comes, as I told you, the determinant value should be more than 0.000001. Then only you can assure that this data is not suffering from multicollinearity. So our answer is 0.011. It is more than the level what we have decided. So our data is not suffering from the problem of multicollinearity. I can go ahead. Then please come down. To check the sampling adequacy, I have to check KMO result. It is more than 0.5 as we decided. So there is a adequacy of sampling. And Bartlett's test shows that the sig value is less than 0.05. It means that there is a significant quantum of relationship that exists among the variables so that we can continue with our factor analysis. Fine. Then the table commutalities, it shows that the initially every variable has got one value, and after extraction you can see here the simple reaction, one particular variable, the variance of this particular variable can be explained to the extent of 91% by other variables. The same way, second variable, the variance, that means 89% of the variance of this variable can be explained by all the variables. Okay, so this is not that important. Let me calm down. You can see the eigenvalues as we decided. It has formed 7 factors, 7 groups, and only 3 groups have eigenvalue of more than 1. It means that I am going to consider only 3 factors, the factors which have more than 1 of eigenvalues. If you see here, the first factor contributes to 46% of the total variance. Second factor contributes 22.90% of the variance, and third factor contributes 15.62% of the variance. These 3 factors combinedly, they contribute to 85% of the variance of our data. So I think these 3 factors are more than sufficient for us. Good. Now, please let me comment. So one thing is that we have seen the eigenvalue. There are 3 factors. We can go for 3 factors and check for a scree plot, a plot which intersects factor, component number, factor number, and eigenvalue. First factor, high eigenvalue. Second factor, high eigenvalue. Third factor, okay. Fourth factor onwards, it shows similar line. It's not much difference. So either by seeing this scree plot, you can decide either you can have 4 or you can have 3 factors for this particular question. So you decide. If you want to have 4, again you can go back and you can fix 4 as the number of factors. You can rerun the analysis. Fine. And here component matrix shows that what are the factors into which each and every factor, each and every variable loads. Each and every variable has loadings on many factors. For example, if you take simple reaction, it has loading on factor 1 and factor 2. All the factors have loading on factor 1. All the variables have loading on factor 1. Only 2 variables have loading on factor 2. And there are 4 variables which have loading on factor 3. So, but here I have selected Varimax rotation. After the rotation, this is a picture before rotation. After rotation, you can get a clear picture on which variable gets loading on which factor. It's very, very clear here. Our first factor consists of 3 variables: addition, multiplication, logic. Second factor consists of 2 variables: number of moves and number of seconds in completing puzzles. Our third factor has got 2 variables: simple reaction and choice reaction. So you can have 3 different names for these 3 different groups. One may be something like reaction ability of students, and mathematical and logical ability of students, and you can have puzzle reaction or puzzle solving ability. So 7 variables are grouped into 3 factors. In fact, SPSS is not going to give you the names for these factors. As a research scholar, you should find out and you should give names for each and every one of the factors. Fine. The last table is immaterial, you can just leave it. And this is how you can conduct a factor analysis to find out how many factors can be formed for your research variables. I think it's clear to you. I got 3 more small tests. Maybe I will meet you in the second part of this presentation. Till then, thanks so much.